Drew, and I'm joined as usual with Jonathan.
Good evening, everybody.
So, as the title suggests, we're going to be talking about growing peas and beans. Just before we do get into the main parts of the stream, if you've got any questions, we're definitely going to answer them, but we're going to do it in a bit of a different format. We're going to answer the questions when we open it up to the floor, that way we can get through what we've got planned, and we don't miss any questions.
Yeah, because we don't really want to miss your questions.
No, and when we're trying to say what we've got planned, and we're trying to search for things and pull up photos, we can't always see what the chat's saying, which is unfortunate, but such is life.
Yeah, it can get a bit confusing while you're trying to do something and you're concentrating on chat, and it gets a bit sort of off-putting a little bit.
Right, so without further ado, Jonathan, what have you done in the garden?
What have I done in the garden? I have, me being me, I'm always busy and very active in my garden and other people's gardens as well. This week, for seeds, for the last fortnight, what I've been doing for the seeds, I've been doing broccoli, two forms of broccoli. Your normal broccoli that everybody gets, and one which is called, let me have a look, Aztec broccoli, which I think Andrew might have a photo of somewhere.
I hope so. Go through the photos now.
Oh no, you might have to bring it up from the Real Seed Company. You remember that one?
I'll
tap it in. Yeah. In the background.
Let's hope I've got the right. No, it's not it. It's going to go to something dodgy. I just know it.
No, we don't want any of that tonight, thanks.
No. Yeah, that's right.
Good evening, Sir Francis. Good evening, Tash. Good evening, Philomena.
So, on the broccoli, Aztec. So,
who else we got there?
Aztec broccoli.
Sorry if I've missed anybody.
Is it horizontal?
Yeah, that's the one.
I'll just go on to it. Right.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah. It's a very strange form of broccoli, but it's something that I'm going to give a go.
All right. What else?
Oh, red top Swede, which is quite obvious. Everybody buys those in the shop. Spring onions, and with
the red onions.
Oh, those are the red onions. That's a follow-up from the ones that I started. Oh, crikey, must be about a month or more ago now. No thanks to my dog. She decided to pull them all out, so I had to take the pot out of her reach, so she didn't pull them all out. So and so. But yeah, they're doing really well now. Hopefully, I might have enough room in there to keep all of them in. If not, then one or two might get sacrificed for the table. What else have I done? Oh, the other day, I haven't got any photos of these, but for the other day I did with the children again. Sunflowers, these are the giant sunflowers, giant pumpkins. They all picked, because I have 3 children, they all picked different seeds. We had some different seeds that they could all choose. And so we had giant pumpkins, giant sunflowers, and poppies. So I got the children doing something as well. And also, what else I've been doing is I've been doing the tire method. If you can bring those photos up. Yeah, so I put King Edwards in these. just to see, because we've been talking about it. I thought let me do the trial with everybody if everybody's going to have a go at this. So my neighbour was kind enough to give me eight tires, so I can do an 8 stack with these tires. And we'll see how if this process actually works. Yeah, that's me. Then that's slowly filling them up.
So you got the other potatoes as well, haven't you?
Yeah. So I used the tubs. These ones are down on my allotment. So I've done working from left to right. The first tub on the bigger one on its own, closest to us on the left, is just odds. They are stuff out of your supermarket potatoes that are at the end of their shelf life. So you don't want to cook them any longer, and they're starting to sprout. So I thought, well, let me try, see if we do get anything from them. So that's those. The 2 back ones on their own are King Edwards again. And the 2 front smaller ones are Charlottes. And obviously I don't fill them right up. So that you can see the green growth coming through the ground. And as soon as you start seeing that, then you can start putting more soil in there. But yeah, hopefully they'll do well. So we got the Charlottes, but the Charlottes are that's the randoms. That's I don't know what varieties they are. I haven't got a clue. We'll just see what happens. But with the Charlottes, they're obviously an earlier crop, so I've put them at the front so I can get to those quicker. We can tip those out, and they can be the soil can be reused on the allotment. Obviously, nowhere near where you're going to put potatoes in the following year. What else? I've forgotten what else I've been doing. Oh yes, that's my sweet corn. This is the special Swiss sweet corn, which is a non-GM and non-F1 variety. I know I'm a little bit early for these, but I want them early because I want them with my salad. That I'm trying to time everything, so I haven't put any lettuce in yet. So my tomatoes were the first thing. Then there's the sweet corn. I've got the potatoes in as well. So I've got the main bulk of my salads for the summer. So then there's just the lettuces and basils and things like that. And I've got a loose-headed chicory, which is not bitter. So I'm looking forward to that as well. My broad beans, if anybody's done broad beans this year.
Oh, that's
my there's my tomatoes. And these are the cannelloni beans that I took from a packet. And they're really coming on well now. They're really, really shooting well. So we'll see what really comes from this, because they're going to be much like a French bean. What's the next picture? And these are my French beans. So these are ones that they don't, and these have been in longer than those cannellonis. And they're don't seem to want to do very much. So I might reset some more seeds and see how we go.
And you got these ones?
Yeah, these are my butternut squash. I had a bit of a glut of these because I got, see the 6 there that you can see, and there's a green pot in the background. That's another one as well. So I've got those 7. So that's plenty enough for me. Thinking that each one may produce like about 5 fruits or 5 gourds, if you want to put it one way. So I had a glut of them. So I took them down to my local meeting and shared them all out with everybody else. I still have a few more yet to offload to other people.
So you've got quite a few tomato photos.
Yeah. I can't remember the variety that one is. I can't think what that one is. I couldn't see the sign on there. It's too small. But yeah, these. This would be one of the Czech tomatoes that I've got. They're very. These ones will be a bush variety, which I can grow actually outside in one of the raised beds. I'm looking forward to that. And then on the right hand side, you've got another variety of Czech, and they're a vine. They're a yellow vine one, and on the left, they are cafe cream, and they are a brown tomato, which the guy I work for, he kindly let me have his seeds. And the funny thing is with them, they say they're brown. They actually got on the leaves, there's a tinge of brown. So they're coming along nicely as well. Oh, right. So here we are. We're looking at in the middle. So the two trays, the one at the back and the one you can just see the front edge of, those ones in the middle are runner beans. They're Khazar. And on the left-hand side, that's sweet pea. So that's one that I set off earlier. And then there's another one just in front of it in a clear container. They're ones that I set off about 3-4 weeks later, just to prolong the year of flowering.
And finally, this one.
Right. If you lot are on your phones, you probably can't pick it up. But if you're on a tablet or a PC or whatever, you'll probably be able to see in the back near the water butt, that small square, you've got garlic, 2 rows of garlic. There is to the side of it, there is thyme, but that hasn't really come up quite yet. But all this that you can see in the foreground are broad beans. So they are I can't remember the variety of the broad beans, but they're broad beans in there, and they seem to be doing really, really well.
Right. A lot of things to remember there.
Yeah.
Oh, right. So this is what I've been doing. So I pricked out my golden sunrise tomatoes, and then 12 days later, so it takes us up to when I took photos of these, which we yesterday, I think. They've gone up to there, so they're about 4.5 inches tall now.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Because you set yours off a few weeks behind me, didn't you?
Yeah, I think. Yeah. They've got this beautiful purple tinge to the stems, the lower stems, and under the leaves, which I quite like. So I harvested my radishes, which were they failed. The stems were very, very leggy, and they started to split open as well. So they never actually created a root, and they were very, very bitter. So the stems were very, very leggy. Oh.
Sorry, I've got feedback. Sorry.
Yeah, I have as well.
Sorry, it's gone now.
And I sowed some more of those Vienna F1. There they are. So they're coming along quite well.
Yeah, they're doing well, aren't they? They're actually looking quite healthy. They're quite nice to look at. Are you gonna let them actually? Are you gonna prick them out and pop them into different, or are you going to put them into the soil, or what are you going to do with them?
No, I'm going to keep them. I'm going to keep them like that. See what happens. I mean, these are just because they're my F1s. I'm just trying things out with them. But what I really want to do is use my the Chiltern seeds ones that I've got. My French breakfast. They're odd-looking things, but I'm hoping that they're
French breakfast.
Yeah.
You say they're odd. God, see if you can send photos. So it'd be interesting to see.
So there they are.
Ah, yeah, they're longer, aren't they?
Yeah, longer and bulkier. So it'd be very
Yeah,
interesting to see what they taste like.
yeah, because they're more like the, what do you call them? The Japanese or Chinese relish, which is much longer relish.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, are they white?
Yes, that's the ones. Yeah, yeah. They don't come in other colours. I don't think.
So that's them. And then in terms of progress, my strawberries, my alpine strawberries, they've got their first set of leaves, or first one. So
Mm. Oh yeah, no. Do you remember I told you about these? If they do come to set any fruit this year, please pick it off,
yeah,
or any flowers, pick it off, so all the growth goes into the plant instead of producing some seed for the following.
yeah, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
definitely going to do that. What else? Crispy lettuce leaves blend after 32 days. So after about 40 days, they should be ready to harvest.
Hmm.
So
They look nice. They do look nice.
they're a bit floppy. The leaves are a bit they're a bit floppy, and there's not much structure to them. So I'm hoping that they add in a bit, but we'll see.
You might need to give them a bit of Viagra. Are they with those? Sorry, with those. I can see they're going a bit yellow. Is that the natural leaf color, or is
Yeah,
that is the natural leaf color?
they're a variety. So I'm hoping it's the natural leaf color, but I'm assuming it is.
Yeah, yeah.
I've got a peppermint, so they've started to get quite a few true leaves now.
Oh, they are, aren't they? Oh, that'd be really interesting. You'll need to, especially the one on the right hand side. You'll need to start separating and pricking those out because the yeah, they will become a bit fierce otherwise. You won't be able to detangle them from each other.
All right, yeah. The one on the left was the first batch, and it did
Yeah.
nothing for ages. So I gave up hope, but I kept watering it, and I did the second one, and then of course, sod's law, everything just goes bonkers, and they all come
I
out more peppermint than I could ever want.
Yeah, I had the same thing with my runner beans, the Khazars. Uh, the first lot didn't seem to be doing anything, and then I thought, well, I'll set the next lot up. And by the time I'd set the next lot up, and they were just showing a little bit. The first lot went boom, and they were up, and I thought, oh God. So I think I'm going to end up with a glut of those. So I think I might be handing those out to people as well.
And finally, I've got my prairie fire chilies after about 7.5 weeks. Although I think most of that, I think about 3 weeks of that, they didn't do anything. They were so. And then
Mm,
luckily they finally germinated. I think after I put them on radiator and covered them
yeah,
in cling film.
yeah, yeah. It's always a good. It's always a good bet to have a go at that.
But they're
Especially,
developing. I'm going to say they're developing their third set of leaves on top,
mm.
and then in the nooks where the leaves attached to the stem, there's other sets growing there as well.
Oh, good. Well, that's good. That's a good sign.
I'm,
They look really healthy.
I'm thinking about potting them on into the sorts of pots that they've got.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, what was those? Sorry, Andrew.
Those were the tomatoes that I pricked out.
Ah, right. Yeah.
Right, and that's and then with microgreens, I harvested my beetroot, and to be honest, it didn't taste of anything.
Didn't taste a beetroot.
No, that's a shame. But
Oh,
I've sown some more chard in its place, so I'm just trying
oh,
things out.
nice. Yeah. Is that a rainbow chard or just a white chard?
I think it might be rainbow actually. It's one of Johnson's microgreens range. So
Talking about that, have you had another chance? Sorry, people. Have you had another chance to look at king seeds for your micros?
No, I haven't actually. I forgot about that. I'll if you remind me after the stream, I'll have a look. Right, so we've got some viewers' photos now. So these are from Boudica. So we've got a herb box,
Yeah,
multiple different herbs. We've got a cabbage going to seed.
cool. Like that.
Then there we've got a cucumber.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've lost all my cucumbers. And I was also talking to Ali T the other night, and she was saying that she's lost her cucumbers as well. So it's not just me. And she's a experienced gardener as well.
And then finally we've got some leeks going to seed.
Oh, it's a shame we can't see the tops because the leeks are they produce like a fantastic flower, a bit like the ornamental alliums that you people buy.
And then we've got some from Adam. So these are
Yeah.
the ones that he's been doing. Various ones there.
It looks like potatoes in the tray, doesn't it? Yeah.
And he's prepping the area for him there.
That looks nice, rich, loamy sort of soil. That looks nice.
And then these are what he's got. Another plant. Where is it? Flowers, and there's some strawberry and tomato plants in there.
Oh, smashing. Having an advantage, you've got the fence there. You can, if you've got vine tomatoes, you can structure them and put wires on that fence for them to grow against. You can hold them up against that. That's quite a handy thing to do.
All right, so now we've covered it. We've covered that. We'll get on to the topics. So we're going to talk about allotments first. So you want to take that away?
Yeah, I can't remember the person that asked. Oh, yes, I do. It was it? What? Remind me, Andrew. What was the person that asked us the other night about it? Cass. Yeah, that's it. Asked us to cover allotments. So with the allotments, the first thing you have to do is you have to go to your local council. Sometimes you could be on a waiting list for about 7 years. I know that sounds a long time. It was you, yeah. You can be on there for a long time, but sometimes you can if you're lucky, you can get them very quickly. Depending if you go down to the allotment or your local allotment and you have a look around and you say, well, there's quite a few dormant ones and they're not being used, and you just prompt your local council to push you along the line. Generally, they cost about £50 a year, but what you can actually gain from that £50 a year is quite phenomenal. And that varies what you can do on the allotments. On our allotment here, we're allowed to keep chickens and bees. We used to be able to have bonfires, but the council turned around and said no. So we can't burn our bits and pieces at the end of the year. So they've all had to either be chipped or taken away, unfortunately. And if you take on a derelict allotment, the best thing you could possibly do is don't go down the path of using old carpets, because they're a nightmare afterwards, because you've got to get rid of them. The best thing to do is buy black polythene. So level the ground out, black polythene, and cover everything with that, at least for 6 months. I know that's a long period, but it kills majority of the weeds. And then once you've done that, you can take that off, or you can do it in sections. You could do a quarter or half of the allotment at one time to kill off, but don't use pesticides because they stay in the ground forever. They say, they dissipate in 3 weeks, but no, they don't. They actually stay and remain in the soil. So all these pesticides and like Roundup and things like that, just don't touch them. If you wanted to get around it really quickly and want to get your allotment up and running fast, you could always try the no dig idea, which is very simple. You section you level the area that you're going to use, or if it's already level, that's a good idea. That's good for you. It's a good starting base. Cover it with cardboard, and if you can, bring in a load of new topsoil to just cover the cardboard. So you wet the cardboard, chuck the topsoil on top of the wet cardboard, and you can straight away get one on plant, because the cardboard actually suppresses all the weeds underneath it. But your plants, when they grow, they can grow through the cardboard into the soil below it again. So it does sound a bit of an odd thing, but it does work. It does work. Oh, hello, Weirdy Beardy.
You all need to watch the documentary on the internet called We Need to Grow. Have you heard of that one?
No, I haven't heard of that one. I'll check that one out.
Oh, thanks for that. We'll check it out.
I'll see if I can find it and put a link in at some point. Oh, Weirdy Beardy, if you can find a link of it, put it in the chat.
I don't think it'll allow him to put it in the chat on the on YouTube. But if you can tell us where it is, we'll
check
find
that
it
out.
and put it in the chat.
Yeah. So that is basically what you can do, and it all depends on your preference on how you want to work it. Personally, try and do as little as possible. So the no dig policy is I know it sounds weird, and everybody likes to do this double dig and things like that. I do myself. I do the double dig. So I'll double dig a row, put manure in, and then as I go to the next row, that gets put on top, and as you keep going down the line like that. But that's only if you've got prepped ground for this. It doesn't work if you've got a load of bindweed or kutch grass or brambles or any of those horrible things that you don't want in there. I mean, dandelions aren't that bad because you can actually get them out. I've been pulling dandelions out recently out of somebody's garden. The roots look much like a turnip, not a turnip, sorry, a parsnip. They were that big. You could have eaten them. But yeah, that's your allotments covered more or less. Unless you've got any other questions, we'll press on something else.
Yeah, so we'll talk about peas and beans. So beans, we'll start off with runner beans. So you sow them in May to be harvested between mid-June to mid-September. They can grow up to about 8 to 10 foot, so they definitely need to be tied to a support. They need deep topsoil of about 15 inches to establish a good root system. The soil shouldn't be too acidic, with plenty of organic matter. They can grow in full sun or partial shade, but should be sheltered in order to encourage pollination. And with the runner beans, you can eat them young before the seeds develop, or you can let them go to seed and collect the fully developed seeds to use in things like soups. So,
yeah, you can do like a bean salad, or you could. I like to cook them with a little bit of salt, especially the Kazar beans that I've got going this year. It's the first year I've ever grown them, but they're much like butter beans, so I'm looking forward to eating them young and letting some go to full their full dry seed.
Yeah, I've got some that I want to plant called Rhonda Blacks. Rhonda
Ooh,
Black. So I'm looking forward to that because they're quite rare apparently. So
can you bring up the Rhonda Black, or
um, I'll
is it a
try.
bit? Because it might not, you might not find it on YouTube. Um, not on YouTube, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Mm.
No, I think it's so rare that they don't even appear.
No. Oh, is the bean supposed to be black?
I think so. Yeah.
Ooh, well, they look cool. Like a bit like kidney beans.
Although I don't know if they're them. But yeah. So have you got anything else you want to say about runner beans?
No, apart from do not grow them in the same spot every year. That means your dwarf beans, runner beans, you don't want to grow them in the same spot every year. You need to do crop rotation if you've got the space to do it. If not, just don't grow them in the same spot every year because they won't grow very well the following year in the same spot because they fix nitrogen. Yeah, they fix nitrogen into the ground, and I can't remember what they take out. But yeah, it's also good policy not to grow the same produce of anything that you're doing in the same spot every year because you can get stuff like blight from like the potatoes and so on and so forth. It's just good practice to rotate your crops around.
Yeah, and they can develop diseases like foot and root rot. Can't
Foot and root rot, yeah.
they? Yeah. Right. So French beans. So sow these in May and mid June, and harvest between mid July and mid September.
Yeah.
So we're heading to this now. So if you got them, you better get ready.
Yeah. Now the only see, I I am a bit early with all my beans this year, but edging my bets for like last year. I mean, we had such a lovely start to the year with no frost. But this morning again, I'm down in the southwest. I expect you can tell that by my accent. Um, I woke up to another frost this morning, and on the last 6 nights, it's been fine. It's gone down, but not below. But this morning it was about -2. So I'm thinking, I've got all this stuff in the greenhouse, in the windowsills, and they've got to go out, and they can't go out yet.
Just getting some photos there.
Yeah, French beans, yeah.
Yeah.
So those cannelloni beans I've got are a form of French bean as well, but they're obviously with their name, they're obviously Italian, um, and they produce like a white bean as well, which is really nice.
Well, apparently the climbing varieties they can grow over 8 foot high.
Can do, yeah, can do.
They're easily damaged by the wind, so they definitely need to be sheltered.
Yeah, and tied into something, yeah.
Yeah. They like soil that is light, well drained, and slightly acidic.
Hmm.
So you can also get bush varieties. So you treat them like a mini runner bean. You cane them, but only a quarter of the size of 4 foot tall.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And a good tip is use biodegradable string to tie them on the canes as well.
Yeah, so when at the end of the year you can just scoop the whole lot, pull the canes out, and it can all go onto your what's the word I'm looking for, Andrew? Compost heap. That's the word. So nothing gets wasted. It all goes onto the compost heap, and you can reuse it in a year or two's time.
Yep. And broad beans. So you sow these between mid-February and mid-April. So as soon as
depending when you want them. With all the brassicas, I mean, you could even start them. You can start them late in the year. So November, December, you can start them off. I know that sounds, you think, oh Christ, the frost is going to kill them, but no, it doesn't. No, they're very, very hardy plants. So then you can have them early in the summer, or you can do them early summer, early spring, and then have them sort of mid to late summer. You can literally move them around all over the year. You can put them in whenever you like, really. But depending what you want to use them for, do you want them with your Sunday dinner, or do you want them as a salad with some mint in the summer?
Yeah, and these grow to around 4 foot high, and like well dug soil that is ideally has been manured the previous winter.
Mm.
Yeah. And this is an example of them. Leidse Hangdown. Got some of these from Real Seeds, so maybe I'll get to do it next year.
Oh, you could test a patch out. You still do it now. You could have them for September. Just do a small grouping. Say do to 5, and they'll produce enough to fill a few bowls.
Well, there's with green beans, there's lots of health benefits. So they're a very good source of vitamin C and folate, as well as containing calcium and protein in amounts that are useful, which makes them anti-inflammatory and great for heart health. They also contain twice the amount of iron than spinach, so it's great for women to replace iron lost due to menstruation. So. I
just told the missus that just before we came on stream. She went, "Oh, is that right?" I'll have to have some of those then.
Abundant in vitamin K, which is great for bone health, and due to the strong diuretic properties, they help to speed up the elimination of toxins from the body.
Yeah, they're lovely. I love them. But it's not everybody's kettle of fish, because they do have that very strong iron taste. Yes, old mother.
Yeah.
Yeah. They are one of my favourite beans. My favourite thing to do with them is cook them just to the point when you know that they're just soft enough. Don't overcook them. And then you make get some peppermint from your plants with butter, and mix the two together, and then just do that all over your beans and eat them like that. Oh, so nice.
So, has there anyone got any questions about growing beans? What's your favourite type of bean?
Mine?
Yeah.
Oh, it is the broad bean. That is my favourite. And you know what? When I don't grow any, and I haven't grown any, I don't always grow them, because where I am, just down the road and over the hill and down the road, there's fields and fields and fields and fields of them. So if I do feel slightly peckish and I really fancy some, I can always pull the car up close by, hop over the fence, and shouldn't say it, but help the farmer take his crop in.
Right, so we've got peas next. So will sow between April and May, to be harvested between June and mid-August. Peas can grow less than 18 inches all the way up to over 6 foot, and like beans, they need to be tied on to support. Shelled peas can be eaten either fresh or dried, whereas Monge 2 are eaten when their pods are immature. And peas like soil with good drainage, that's preferably be manured than the previous winter.
Yeah, that's right. Just reading Weirdy Beardy. Yeah, I do sometimes. I don't know. I'll put my thought process. Yeah, because broad beans are from the brassica family, so peas are from the legume family, which are runner beans and so on and so forth. So again, you wouldn't want to grow them in the same spot the following year.
Yeah, so the health benefits of peas, so they're rich in vitamin K, manganese, and vitamin C. Also a good source of folate, iron, and trace elements. They contain insoluble fibre, which is good for gut health, as well as reducing the risk of heart disease and stroke. And in Monge 2, it contains glycodyline A, which strengthens sperm. So very useful. And reduces the risk of cataract and loss.
No, I haven't tried that yet, but I might do, Weirdy Beardy.
It reduces the risk of cataracts and loss of vision due to lutein content. So I think this is something we definitely need to get back to, learning about the medicinal and health properties of the things we eat.
Yeah, and it all goes down onto the preparation of the ground. So as long as the preparation for the ground and what you've put into the ground is healthy, you're going to get a healthy plant with plenty of all these properties.
William NS has got a question. Are what you're called runner beans the same thing we burgers call pole beans?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what you mean. Long, and if you let them go too far, they get a bit stringy. So yeah, I think that's exactly the same thing.
Yeah, so looking into all of the health benefits of different foods, it really is an eye opener. It really brings home the importance of eating healthily, more so than just the obvious ones of feeling better and not being obese.
Yeah, it's funny. As a family, we eat a lot of vegetables, and sometimes you know what it is. You get home from work, and you just want an easy meal. So it might be just, I don't know, chips out the freezer, a bit of bacon or whatever else. But you know, after a few days, you think, oh, I'm really looking for some vegetables. We find out after having, like, especially on a Sunday dinner. I mean, we have like about 7 or 8 different vegetables on the plate and the meat, and we feel so good after that because it just all those good vegetables inside the system. Yeah, meat's good, but vegetables are much better, and you do feel much better for eating veg.
Well, it's something that we really need to be putting an emphasis on. What with all the things that are happening,
Yeah,
it's not outside the realms of possibility that at some point down the road they might end up, shutting off our ability to use, health services.
that brings me round to something that we were talking about the other night, wouldn't it, Andrew? Here where I live down in the southwest, Weirdy Beardy might see it as well. We are seeing crop failures. Now, yes, I am. Now, the crop failures, we've had several, I've got several farmer friends, and we are seeing a few crop failures here already. And also, we're seeing them re-sowing because they've had the crop failures, which is very unusual. We haven't had rain for a month. We also haven't seen any rapeseed in the field yet. That's not a good sign. I mean, normally we see fields and fields of rapeseed. That's not happening. Wheat doesn't look very good in the fields at the moment. So I don't know if it's anything to do with the chemtrails that we see in the sky, or is it that the companies that are selling the seeds are selling them duff seeds? But there's something going on. There is definitely something going on. We know, if you're living in the UK, we know that we are seeing things coming off the shelf left, right and centre. And they're blaming that on the EU. And it's got nothing to do with the EU and all this. That's just rubbish. It's rubbish. I don't know what is going on, but we are on the verge of seeing food shortages here in the UK. Has anybody, now I've said about that, has anybody that lives in the UK, has anybody else seen rapeseed in the fields yet? Anybody seen anything that, or heard of anything that's failures?
Yeah, this will be very interesting to know. It's definitely concerning, especially if we look at it from a wider context of all the food shortages that are happening, all the crop failures around the world, and all the animals being slaughtered, by governments.
And the thing is, it seems to be all happening at the same time. It all happens at the same time. We've had the, no, I can't say it. We've had that, and we've been told that the food shortages are the next thing. So I can see it's happening. It's slowly happening, and it's. I mean, Russia are holding all their grain back. So is the old Eastern Bloc, like Ukraine and places like that. They're holding theirs. South America are holding theirs. China's buying up America's next year's crops that haven't even been planted yet. So there's something going on.
So Francis is asking, is it to do with GM crops maybe?
It could be the push for them. Yeah, it could be. But if you're wise enough now, is to, even if you're not going to grow it, buy seed and store it in your fridge if you can.
Very weird is talking about that documentary. So that documentary is an eye-opener, folks. It mentions how we only have 49 years of farmable soil left. To remineralize the soil naturally would take 400 years, but this one man invented something that
can replenish the soil within weeks and the size of a football field. Wow. Yeah, it's all down to organic matter, a lot of it. I mean, since the end of the Second World War, we've been using fertilizers, and they're man-made fertilizers, and you're not. And the capability sizes. Yeah. Farmers do not put. They do not, and they're using big trucks and big tractors that squash the ground, so it's impacting them that way, and they're not using the traditional methods. of farming, which has been handed down for millennia.
William NS says the food shortages are coming. Check out Ice Age Farmer. Learning to grow food may literally be life or death in the future. Definitely,
Yeah.
we're all avid
This,
watchers of Ice Age
yeah,
Farmer.
and this is why we're doing this. This is totally why we're doing this, to encourage people to do this. If you're not growing it, just store it. Store the seeds. Store them. Store whatever you like to eat. Store it away, because money won't be worth nothing if you can't feed yourself.
Yeah, Beardy Worldy. He built a power plant which was totally green, and the only waste product was actually beneficial electricity.
That sounds like a really interesting.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to check that one out.
Video or streamer.
Right, so you want we'll go into growing methods, so canes and trees. This is for the supports for your peas and beans. So,
Yeah, sorry, yeah. Sorry, Andrew, I was reading the chat and I shouldn't have. Sorry, what? Say that again.
So growing methods, so canes.
Canes, yeah. So you can make everybody makes these. It's a general rule. Most people make a TP sort of shaped stack for their beans, especially runner beans. And it's also being you've got it in a TP shape. It's very stable, and you can use bamboo canes, but I personally prefer to use branches from a tree, because if you don't trim all the branches off and you leave some of the branches for the very top, it's even more stable, because those branches will knit together, and then all you need to do is just clip it into shape then at the end, and it should more or less stay together quite well. All right, Weirdy Beardy, take
Good
care.
night.
Night, mate. But you can do this as a smaller version for this, for your French beans. You can also use a similar method with butternut squash.
You can also tie it to a dead tree or a shrub.
Yeah. So if you've got a fairly large dead tree in your garden and you don't know what to do with it and you don't really want to take it down, grow something up it. Preferably beans, something you can eat.
All right, so does anyone have any questions? We'll open it up to the floor. Or has anyone been planting anything in the last couple of weeks? Want to tell us about?
No. Yes. No. I bet Sir Francis, I bet you've been growing things.
So if there's no questions, we'll move on to the next one.
Beetroot.
Beetroot is going in soon. Nice. What variety have you got?
No, I just put a row of beetroot in as well.
My golden sunrise are just starting to poke up now. The shoots.
Are they indoor or outdoors?
Outdoor.
Oh, nice. What's the name of the video again? I don't know.
It's We Need to Grow.
That's it, yeah.
Roy Kinson, I've been growing more awesome by the day. Glad to hear it.
What variety of awesome?
Right, so shall we cover the herbs?
Oh yes, yeah.
Oh,
Some. That's right, English bird.
so ethrin. No, right.
Yeah,
I put some.
you know.
I put some flowers in seeds, flower seeds in the box I've got out back. Built it out of a neighbour's old fence. 450 litre. The landlord hasn't said anything yet. Anything long.
Good, nice. Yeah, keep it
Let's
going.
hope he doesn't say anything.
Nah, he won't say nothing. It's easy to dismantle, isn't it? So, be fine.
So Sir Francis, clearing out old to make way for the new. Having trouble with bamboo. The roots are like rock. That's my job for the weekend.
Oh, bamboo is a nightmare, and it can get really. It can be a nightmare, and I don't like to say it, but glyphosate. Sometimes you have to use it.
Right, so following on from our previous stream, we've chose 5 more herbs to go into a little bit more detail about. So, first one, rosemary. So it's a woody stemmed shrubbery herb, which is an evergreen perennial. It's a Mediterranean herb, therefore it likes full sun and warmth during summer, but a slightly cooler but brighter spot during the winter. And there are 3 different types of rosemary leaves, which all have the same flavour, but have a different shaped leaves, which are common rosemary, Miss Jessop's, and prostrate rosemary. And rosemary is both an antioxidant and an anti-inflammatory with strong antiseptic properties.
Yeah.
So have you got much experience of growing rosemary? Is that something you like to grow?
Yeah, I do like to grow rosemary. The funny thing is, I was only clipping back rosemary in somebody's garden last week. It was, and I've got to go back to this tomorrow. Actually, it'd be tomorrow. I've got to go back to there, and it's starting to grow quite nicely now. And it had a bit of a failure. I mean, some of them didn't do very well last year, so they needed to be clipped back to the dead. All the dead need to be clipped back to the remaining live stuff. But yeah, no, they're surviving, so I'm going to give them a nice organic feed tomorrow and see how they go over the next couple of weeks, unless we go have to replace them.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, William and S. So far, I'm growing a bunch of potatoes, tomatoes, bush and pole beans, cucumbers, squash, melons, okra, lettuces, kale, kohlrabi, chard, pak choy, berries, herbs, etc. Nice.
Oh, nice. I like okra, but it's slimy fingers. Not everybody likes it, but I like it. I like it in Indian cooking. It's lovely. And pak choy obviously is it's from the brassica family, and they're nice, very nice in a stir fry or something.
Daffy just said that rosemary is very easy to grow from cuttings.
Yeah, it does take quite easy from a cutting. So if you're going to do it in the cuttings, for anybody else that's listening, you take a very sharp knife. So you cut it with your secateurs, and then you take a very sharp knife and cut it at an angle. Dip it in a organic hormone rooting, and then put it to the edge of the pot. So it's literally in the soil, but on the very, very edge. So there's none on the back edge of the stick that you're putting into the ground. Then keep it well watered and out of the sun.
Sam said, I do the rosemary in thyme and chives, mint, and English sweet pea flowers. I thought it was
Nice.
good. Okay. Nice.
No, that's good. That's all good. Anything. Grow anything that you like. It is. We're not dictating to you to grow vegetables, but you might want to think about it. I mean, time's lovely. Thyme is one of my favourite herbs.
John Francis, kale, interesting, easy to grow.
Oh, very easy to grow. Yeah, yeah. Depending on what varieties you want to do. There's a dwarf variety. There's a large varieties. There's like the Italian oh, I can't pronounce it now. Which is like a dark, um, dark green leaf, like nearly black it is, but it's lovely. Oh, it's nice stuff. Easy to grow.
Welcome, Colonel Custard. Been working on my allotment today, and my legs and back are aching a bit. I'm sorry to hear
bless
that.
you. Go and have after the stream. Go and have a nice Radox hot bath.
Chard is easy to grow, says Sam.
Yes, very easy to grow. I'm growing this year. I'm growing a dwarf. It's a not dwarf, sorry. It's giant. I've got to get it the right way around. Giant chard. It's a white chard. It grows about 4 foot tall. So it's a big plant. And obviously, if you're good, if you're careful with it, you can follow it in through to the next year. As long as you don't let it go to seed, because you'll know when it goes to seed, because you'll see this big, thick tube sort of coming out the middle, and then the flower will be on the top. Don't let it go to seed, otherwise you'll lose the plant. Unless you want it to go to seed, then you can keep the seeds.
So William and S, you can root cuttings from most plants. I have a huge rosemary plant I grew from a cutting 2 years ago.
Cool, brilliant. And do you use it for cooking?
Just grow something, even if it's just a few containers. Learn the principles behind growing food. Exactly.
Brilliant. That's good. Good quote.
Very good. Yeah, there's no point buying a load of seeds and then just keeping them in a shoebox and not until you might need them, because then they might not even grow. You might end up killing them all off by accident.
That's why I say don't keep them in the shoebox. Keep them in the fridge. Keep them in the fridge. It keeps them fresh.
I'm thinking more in terms of, if you wait till the last minute, so you really need them to start growing, you'll make so many mistakes. It's better to just try things out now while you can always go to the supermarket and get stuff. Learn the principles, and then if you really do have to rely on it, at least you've got that body of experience.
Yeah, and even me, with my experience, there's certain things I am absolutely useless at growing, and there's other things I'm still, even now, still learning some things. It's still not always set in stone that somebody with a lot of experience can get it always right.
Colonel Custer said, I have 3 young apple trees and a pear tree. I'm a fan training on a frame.
Oh, brilliant. You're going to do espaliers or just a fan?
Natasha's asking, is it the need to grow? Can't remember now.
Yeah, there is a need to grow right now. Right now.
Right. So next one, bay trees. So bay trees, also called laurel trees, are a perennial evergreen shrub which can be grown in both full sun or partial shade. The leaves can be used to improve digestion, anti-inflammatory, and has a strong antibacterial properties. But it's very important that you make sure that the bay leaves that you plan to use are taken from a laurel tree rather than another type of bay tree, because they can be toxic.
Yeah, and you can tell them apart. A bay tree leaf, when you get hold of it, they're quite rigid to hold, and as you hold the leaf, it will crack, and you can smell the scent of the bay coming out at you. It's a really nice scent. The obvious that you can use it for is obviously bologneses. You make a nice ragu, and there's a guy down on the allotment. He's got a humongous one. There's a lady that I used to work for. She had a tree that was, oh Christ, must have been Oh, good. 40 foot tall, this bay tree, and for many years I was always going down and taking a branch home and stripping it all off, letting it all dry out, and I'd have an endless supply.
Xantha said, sowed some seeds today. Birds had a good meal.
Oh yeah, yeah, yes, that's right, Sam. I was sowing grass seed in two areas in this one of the gardens I work in, and every time I turned my back, there was a little robin kept coming down and pinching the grass seed. And I thought, well, I'll tell you what, I'll give you extra. So, so I get a sowed extra onto the land, so we can get something to eat. And these seeds, don't worry, they're not nasty seeds, and they're coated in liquid seaweed. Well, a dried form of liquid seaweed. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure birds have been going at my spring onions.
Oh, birds and onions are a nightmare. Because birds will pull out your onions if they start showing that green shoot. And you go, come along, and they go, oh, I'll have that, and pull it out. They don't eat it; they just pull them all out to get to worms or whatever else they're trying to get at. But they pull them all out, and it's like, oh god. Or badgers are another one. If you're out if you're sort of near to the sticks, a badger will come along and then uproot them all. They're buggers for that.
English bird has said, I put out dried worm for the birds to keep away from my grass.
That's a good idea.
Right, so move on to lavender. So that's an evergreen perennial shrub, and it has annual varieties. It needs lots of sun and fast raining soil, as it's a Mediterranean herb. The medicinal uses for lavender are to treat anxiety, fungal infections, and wounds. And you can use the lavender heads to make lavender cookies.
Yeah, I was telling you about that. So you can make lavender cookies. So you make a shortbread biscuit, like your normal shortbread biscuit, and you use the heads just after they've finished flowering. So once the purple flowers have just gone back into the main seed bulk, snip them off, let them dry out a tad, and then put them into the mix, and then cook. Oh, so nice! Lavender biscuits are lovely, really, really nice, and good for you.
That's a bay leaf tree. I'm just managed to find one.
Yeah, bays can get very, very big. They can get huge, and they're easy tree to keep in the garden, and you can pick off of it any time of the year, as long as you don't abuse it too much.
Oh, batch 67 has said, squirrels, about a dozen, frequent my garden. I have to construct chicken mesh and wood cages to cover my veg, or they'll dig everything up.
Oh, they're a nightmare. And if you're in the UK, I bet they're not our natives, are they?
Yeah, I'm going to
Yeah.
say then, what type are they?
Yeah, if there are native ones, they wouldn't do that. But on the grey squirrel is an absolute pest. Absolute pest. Greys, yeah, the greys, they're an absolute pest. I set the dog on them all the time.
Sir Francis has said, putting branches and twigs over the newly seeded ground helps protect from birds, according to my grandfather's book.
Yeah, that's good. It's better than the plastic mesh.
William LNS has said, I have trouble getting lavender to germinate. I tried stratification, putting the seeds in the fridge for a couple of weeks, and had a little bit more success.
Yeah, that's always a good idea. Depending on, like we covered this last I think the stream before. Some seeds actually like to have that dormant, proper frozen dormant period. So then when you bring them out of that cold period and you plant them up, they think it's spring and it's time to grow.
Tom Peace has said, I heard you can graft different apple varieties to the same tree.
Yes, you can. Grafting is an art.
Would it be possible to graft a pear branch to an apple tree or vice versa?
No, because they're two different. They're not the same family. So you could do it. You could do all the prune, all the like. If you had a black, say if you had, let me think, a plum, a green gauge, and a blackthorn, say, you can grow that all on the same stock. Apples, you could have all the different varieties of different apples on the same stock. Same with pears, you could do the same with pears, and so on and so forth. But you can't cross a pear with an apple because they're from two different varieties of plants.
It'd be weird if you could, a bit of a Franken tree.
Yeah. and also, if anybody thinks that that when you eat your apple, the seeds that's inside will grow you the same apple, it doesn't. It doesn't. It will grow you. Well, I'm sorry about the dog squeaking.
I wonder what that was.
Yeah, hang on. There you go. I've forgotten what I was talking about. Yeah, you can't, the apple seeds and pear seeds and so on and so forth seeds from all the commercial food that you buy will not produce the same variety of, say, like it was a Cox's apple, and you keep the seeds for a Cox's apple. No, she's not killed the squeaker yet. They will never become true. They're never a true seed. So you really have to buy a grafted stock tree to do that.
Goodbye, Aramas.
Take care.
Colonel Custard has said, badgers seem to be living the high life on our allotment. They can ruin 12 months of work in one night.
Oh, badgers are a nightmare. I like them. I do like them as an animal, but they are. I'm going to have to go solve that squeak out in a minute. It's my missus's fault. She's letting her play with her toys.
Well, I'll go on to the next one while you're.
Yeah, I'll sort the squeaker out. Hang on, I'll be back.
Right. The next one is chamomile. So chamomile is a hardy perennial flower, which is used for anxiety, sleep problems, and soothing gastrointestinal cramps. Chamomile is planted in the summer and likes a sunny position in a well-drained soil.
I can fucking hear it. Take it off of her, please.
Roman chamomile grows a beautiful daisy-like flower. However, you can get non-flowering varieties. So I'll try and find some of that.
Squeaky bugger. Right, that's the squeaker got out of the way. Sorry about that, people. Now she's in the kitchen with me.
William N.S. says, squirrels seem to get my best tomatoes every year. I'm going to have to break out the 22 this summer. Send me your squirrel recipes.
Oh, squirrel. Yeah, my dog likes squirrels. Send them over this way. uncooked, please.
Batch 67. Most seed that get used for spices will grow if sprouted and sown.
We will. We will do.
So I'm just talking about chamomile. If you'd like to.
Oh, chamomile. Yeah, I like chamomile. Have you done the properties?
Yeah.
Yeah. It is another one of my favourite plants. Obviously, people know that you can make your chamomile tea. It is not as easy, in some of the big gardens, they might grow them as a lawn. I've seen them grown as a lawn, but that is a feat on its own to keep it as a lawn. It has a tendency to become quite frost prone and die off in places. So it's a lovely idea as a lawn, but it will die off quite easily.
All right, and finally, lemon balm.
Oh,
So it's a perennial herb from the mint family, and it thrives in moist but well-drained soil in both full sun and partial shade. So examples of different lemon balm varieties are all gold, aurea, and compactor. So I'll pull some of those up in a minute. So lemon balm can be used to reduce stress and anxiety, as well as soothing digestion. But lemon balm needs to be kept in a separate pot, otherwise it will take over like other mint.
I don't know how much the postage would be.
So you like lemon balm, don't you?
I love lemon balm, but again, it's very much like the chive. Once you have it in your garden and it gets going, it will spread all over the place, and you need to catch it just before. It's nice when it flowers. Don't get me wrong; it's lovely and it smells and it tastes lovely. But you just got to keep it under control, because otherwise it will go on a rampage and it will go everywhere. It will just take over your garden. You'll think, oh well, I never casted the seed over there, and then it just appear.
Batch 67 has said, add sugar to steeped dandelion petals, strain, reduce, dandelion honey, great liver detoxifier. And William NS has said, lemon balm smells so good. I've got some starts in the greenhouse right now.
Cool. Keep it under control if you put it in the garden. Or if it goes to flower, catch them before they flower and cut it off, because it would be everywhere.
Batch 67 says, dandelion roots baked till dried and ground makes a good coffee substitute. Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I've heard that many times. I've also seen people have dandelions in their salad.
I've not heard that before.
Yeah, you can have people put it in their salads. There's also like there's another one. What's it called? Wild lettuce, and people use that as a. It looks very much like a dandelion. It's a dandelion family. People put that in their salads.
Yeah, we're gonna have to try these different methods of preparing these herbs. It really is fascinating to learn about them, all the medicinal properties.
Yeah. Well, there's just so much knowledge that has been lost over the time, because people live in such big cities and they don't have the time. It's easy to go to the supermarket to get their food, and they become disconnected to the old way of doing things. But there's so many plants in your garden that you think are weeds, and you try to eradicate them, but you can actually eat them.
Roy Bob said, cover dandelion over till the leaves turn white. They taste great.
Try that one. You did stuff my squirrel. Nice. Squirrel's nice. Just not a lot of meat on it. It's like pigeons. I wouldn't eat a town pigeon. Flying rats.
So has anyone got any questions?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I found interesting that you brought up to me the other day was about wild lettuce.
Yeah. The wild lettuce it's an amazing plant. It's also called opium lettuce. This is knowledge that people have lost. Now we all know the side effects from paracetamol and codeine and all those other things. Now, if you actually grow this or find it wild, you can actually make a painkiller from this, and it actually works. It's got a mild sedative, so it will make you fall asleep, and it has no side effects. You can use it long term, and it's a good replacement for any of the things like cocodamol or all those nasty man-made drugs. Oh, I agree with that.
So Old Mother Earth says wood pigeon makes a good casserole with mushrooms and red wine.
Yeah, you can do it at the end of the year. You can go and pick your own wild mushrooms. And if you've got a red grapevine, you could do this. You could be self-sufficient there. That'd be brilliant.
Yeah, and if anyone's if anyone's growing anything and they're making some recipes out of it, we'd love to show them on here. Post the Discord link in there, so you can post them in there, and we'll show them on the stream. And that's the same goes for if anyone's growing anything, or they want any questions answered about maybe diseases that they think the plants have got, or
yeah,
we'll happily show them and talk about them.
Yeah. Anytime anybody wants any information or any information or about plants or herbs or medicinal properties or any of these things or anything, please get in touch.
William N.S. said, that is probably my favourite thing about gardening, thinking about my ancestors and how they would have done it. So natural and grounding.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. We are disjointed from Mother Earth these days with the way we live. It's a shame.
Tasha's pointing out that after this, Vile Radio with a music theme in the fields, 3 hours of songs.
Oh yeah, please go over to Unwashed afterwards with Vile Radio. Good fellow.
Kill Custard, how long will seeds last in the packet before they are no good? Good question.
There's lots of variants to that, but like I say, a year, unless you are going to put them in the fridge. Put them in the fridge, and they'll last much longer. That goes for all seeds. I keep mine in a container and then put them in the fridge at the end of the year when I'm not using them. Just keeps them fresh.
Roy Bob said, I've been feeding pheasants so far. I've managed to get 10 girls and 1 cock pheasant to take up residence. If times get hard, there'll be dinner.
oh yes, I love pheasant, but I don't like it. like a lot of people have it, and it's high. Have you heard? If you know the term from Andrew,
What term, sorry?
high. When the meat is high, it means it's rancid nearly. I remember as a kid, my father was an electrician, and we had to go and work on this big estate. It was not far away from Prince Charles's house, and they had like a games where they kept a games storage, like a little roundhouse sort of thing where they kept like their meats. And I was in there putting this light up, and I looked at this bird and I thought, it's moving. And I tapped it, and all these maggots dropped out. And my dad goes, no, they like it like that. They just strip it all the. Oh no! I said, no, that meat is disgusting. That's horrible. Why would you want to eat rotten meat? That's gross. But that's how the other half live.
So Roy Bob said, if you ever need to catch a pheasant, soak corn in whiskey.
12 ball would be better.
Waste a good whiskey.
Mind you, you're still eating the meat, so. Yeah, squeaky door, sorry. That's the dog coming in.
Hello, Alison. Alison Fayers Kerr has said nasturtium seeds are and he pickled. They're like capsicum.
Sorry, yeah.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm just having dog issues.
Thank you. So nasturtium seeds can be pickled and taste like capsicum. No typos.
Right, I'm back. Dog issues are over. So what's this? What are we on now? Oh, what, like a capsicum? Like they're quite fiery, are they?
Right. So if anyone's got any last questions, we'll be happy to answer them. Good night, Colonel Custard.
Good night, mate. Take care.
So Tom Peace has said, I read threading raisins on the string tied to a tree can also nab you a pheasant. Whiskey doesn't sound as cruel.
Yeah, unless you've got a good hunting dog, that's another good way of catching a pheasant.
Good night, Tash.
Night, Tash. Take care.
Batch 67 says, what should we be planting this week?
Oh, potatoes. No, yeah, you can start putting your potatoes in. You can put salad crops. You're a bit late for tomatoes. Cucumbers, you're just borderline. Squashes is a good one. If you're into broccoli, cauliflower, swede, you can still get away with beetroot. Yeah, there's another one. Spring onions. Your French beans, your runner beans.
Radishes.
Yeah, radishes. Yeah,
lettuce.
yeah. Anything else we can think of? Most things, because we're on the cusp. But depending if you're in the UK, if you're in the UK, then and you're going to start growing it outside, then we're just literally just on the cusp of finishing all the frosts. I woke up, like I said early on the stream, I woke up this morning thinking, oh, we haven't had a frost for, what was it, 6 days. I thought, great, I can start putting my sweet corn out. And this morning, thank God I didn't put it out, because this morning it was just on the touch of -2. And I woke up to a frosty grass, and I was thinking, good job I didn't put nothing out.
So beans.
Beans, yeah. Beans, peas.
What about
But again,
squashes?
squashes. Yeah, squashes. You can do your early squashes and your late squashes. So get them started off inside. With squashes, make sure that they're really, really moist. They won't crack their seed unless the soil is very moist. It needs that moisture to be able to crack that big seed open.
Alison says not capsicum.
You've lost me there. Not capsicum.
I think it's still talking about growing things to grow. Things to grow now.
Right. Yeah, you could get away with peppers and chilies.
Tom Peace. How many potato plants would you recommend planting?
Depending how long you want them for. Say for a season, for your general season, I do earlies, mids, and lates. So look at the varieties you want. And if you want to carry it on the right way through the year, try the tire process, and you can keep them in the tires over winter and take them out as you need them. So stuff like King Edwards and things like those that are the late ones. So you've got Charlotte's are a nice early spring, early summer ones. So you can have those as salads. If you let them go for a bit longer, you can get a larger potato. But if you want like small salad potatoes, you can start them off now, and you can have them by midsummer. Pink fir apples is another unusual one to try. But it all depends on how many potatoes you'd like and how many people you're feeding. Sort of too many variants there for me to answer. But I tend to buy my bags of potatoes, 2.5 bags, and that normally carries me through to nearly to the next year.
So Little Bullet has said, don't put anything out before the 7th of May.
Yes, yeah, until May is out, they say.
Alison has said capers.
Capers, yeah. Capers are not. I love capers, but I like them on pizzas.
Tom has said 1 potato per tire tower.
No. Generally, depending on how high you're going, if you say you're going to do a stack of 4 like I am, you'll want to put about 5 in the bottom, and by the time you get to your second to third, you can add a few more. So add a few more potatoes in there, and make sure when you're doing this that you're pushing the soil, each ring that each tire that you're putting on, you're pushing it right up and in underneath the edge. Otherwise, you're not filling the full potential of the tire. And also make sure that they're well watered.
Little Bullet has said, if you ever have a problem with foxes, get some jam donuts and stuff them with Carolina Reaper. The fox will eat it and you'll never see it again.
Yeah, that's true.
Batch 67 said, I've been using supermarket potatoes at Chick. They'll grow and yield a good crop.
Yeah, they will. They will do. You can do that. But you're more prone to having blight and things like that because they're not specially bred for. There is a difference between what you eat and the potatoes that are bred for purposely for growing. There is a difference, and they're also coated. The potatoes that you buy to grow yourself are also coated with something that stops them from getting blight.
Laura said, I've got kale, peas, beets, broad beans, spinach, and spuds in all fine in the frost.
Yes, they are. Yeah. No, kale is peas. Peas aren't. Beetroot is. Broad beans are. Spinach is, and spuds. As long as they're under the ground, as long as you're keeping a good cover over them.
Batcher said, cover with soil the first 4 times of leaves. They turn into roots when covered with soil.
Yeah, and you can also, if you've got your peelings or your potatoes, sometimes you'll see eyes on these skins. You can, and I've seen it done, grow potatoes from those skins that's got the eyes on. I don't know how well it grows, but you can. It is possible to do that.
William NS said, I bought about 30 pounds of seed potatoes this year, all determinate. I have one 10 by 10 plot, one 4 by 4 raised bed, and a few containers all full of potatoes.
Oh,
I hope you like
nice.
potatoes.
Nice. I'd love to know what varieties you're growing. Because that's a mission and a half.
Batcher said you can cover overnight with fleece in the cold.
Yeah, you can. Or you can use like a small polytunnel or cloche to cover them.
Right, so with that, I think we'll say good night.
Yeah.
So we'll be back on the 6th of May, so in another fortnight. So, yeah, thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll look forward to hearing about what you've been growing in the next fortnight.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what you're. And if any of you aren't on Discord, please come over to Discord and share what you've been growing because we'd love to see. It's nice to see because, like we've been talking before about the projects with the potatoes. I've done the tubs and I've done the tyres. I will try and find a box to do the boxes. But I'm really reluctant to do the box version because I just know it's going to be a failure. But I will try it, and I will post it on here for everyone to see in the next for the next stream.
All right. So, good night, everyone.
Good night, all. Take care. I hope you enjoyed.